Mike Hererra, welcome to an interview with Cinezine.net. I appreciate you taking the time.
Glad to be here.
Well, tell me a little bit, man. You got a lot of irons in the fire. A lot of stuff going on right now. This is a little bit on the side, too. This is a Mike Hererra solo tour.
It is.
So, an acoustic solo tour, even. So, tell me about why this tour came about.
Well, mainly it came about because I was hanging out with my buddy Lewis from Gasoline Heart. He was over in Bremerton hanging with me. We've been talking about doing this tour. Like, hey, let's just get together and do some solo dates, just for fun, hang out. And I'm like, totally, I'll fly to New York. We'll do the East Coast. And he's like, okay, because I haven't been over here in a while. And this happened earlier this year. It happened maybe like he was over for Christmas. His mom lives in Seattle. So finally, like I've been touring most of this year, and at the beginning of the year, I looked at my schedule and found a little bit of dates, and I was like, hey, let's do this. He's like, all right, I'm down. So we marked it in and actually did it. And he kept bugging me, hey, what's going on with that tour? I'm like, it'll happen. I just got to finish this one thing, and then we'll do it. So finally did it, and here we are. I flew out to Brooklyn, or I flew out to New York. I live in Brooklyn. Played there, and we just started heading south and been playing these shows. It's been really fun. I'm having a great time. It's a totally different vibe than like a full band tour would be. And, small crowds, small clubs. It's great. I love it. It's fun.
Cool. Well, what should we expect tonight then? Because, I was just reading an interview with you the other day where you talked about Tumble Down, which is what you've been doing most recently.
Yeah.
Is a party band. I mean, that's what you like to do, is go out there, you like to have fun. That's what inspires the lyrics, inspires the sound. Mm-hmm. So, what should we expect from you now when this is just the Mike Hererra collection on acoustic, It
is different. It is much different than MXPX and Tumble Down. But it's cool. I mean, and fans of both bands, or if you're a fan of one band or whatever, you get a good sense of what each band is about, but you also get something you'll never get from those shows, which is obviously a peek deeper inside, more intimate, more, you're up close, and you get to hear exactly what my voice sounds like. You get to hear, obviously, the songs in a different way, because some songs I have to completely reconstruct in a new way. Yeah. Other times, it's the same song, it pretty much sounds the same, but it's, obviously stripped down. There's not a lot of parts to them. So, for me, it's like, it's a challenge to try to put on a good show, for one, by myself, to pull it off. Tonight is going to be different. I am going to do a bunch of songs by myself, but I'm actually bringing up some friends, and we're going to be doing songs with a band. Cool. It'll be like a Tennessee 3 thing with upright bass, electric guitar, and then me on acoustic guitar. So yeah, it's going to be really fun. We're going to, and at that point it'll turn into something different than what I do by myself, of course. But I'm stoked because it's any chance I get to play with some friends, play something different, do different things than I normally do, I jump at it. Yeah. And I hope that people will kind of dig it.
Yeah. Yeah, that seems to be your MO over the last, really since Arthur kicked off. You've been going in different directions. I know that kind of went on hiatus for a while, for lack of a better term, but, you seem to be looking for a ton of different avenues to try new things, push yourself musically. So is there, have you reached your limit, or is there something next?
No, I'm sure I haven't reached my limit, but, there's always something to do. Yeah. I'm working on a new MXPX record, actually. Cool. We already started recording, and I've got a couple more songs to write, but a huge chunk of it is done on drums. Yuri's been in the studio with me, and Tom's come in and done a couple guitar parts, and so at the same time, I'm sort of reaching far out here. I'm when I get free time, I come back and let's work on the MXPX stuff, and this is where it all began, and I kind of want to. It's kind of like keeping the wheel turning over here, and then going and turning it here. I guess that's kind of what I'm doing. I don't know. I don't mean it to be that. I'm not trying to do it just to do it. I really enjoy doing all the different aspects of music. whether it's punk rock, me playing bass, me playing acoustic guitar, me playing electric guitar in Arthur. So when I get home, we have an Arthur show, we have a Tumble Down show, I got the MXPX album in the studio, we're doing that. And this, to me, is almost like a vacation, even though it's work, I'm working, but it's just something that I enjoy doing.
Yeah. Well, let's kind of go back over a couple of the bands you just talked about. Let's start with MXPX.
Yeah.
Yuri's in there with you.
Yep.
You were just talking earlier in the year that you thought he was second-guessing his commitment to MXPX, which he retired from at the end of last year.
Mm-hmm.
Is he
He retired from touring.
Okay, all right.
But he is still in the band.
Okay.
He's recording with us in the studio. But he just doesn't want to do a full tour. Like, he'll do a one-off show, he'll do a weekend, he'll do fly out, but that's about it. He's got 3 kids. One of them's real young, real tiny baby. So he just can't get away from that, and it's understandable, and he's got a full-time job. So that leaves me with doing Tumble Down, and I'm still doing MXPX. I'm in the studio, I'm writing songs. I'm doing MXPX songs, but, as myself, solo.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, it's all there. It's just different.
Yeah.
Of course, time changes, time marches on. We're going to move and keep it interesting.
Yeah. Well, those guys are obviously still into it, and it's a passion of theirs. But, I mean, you're exemplifying it still. I mean, you're doing more stuff. So I'm kind of curious, 17 years later, is that right? We don't need to do math.
It'll be 19 years.
19, okay.
Yeah.
19
July.
years into it, man. What is it for you that really keeps the motivation high to keep doing what you originally did when you were a teenager, plus all these different side projects?
Well, definitely, the audience. If the audience is there and they're singing along, that makes a huge difference for me. Doing a new band, Tumble Down, it's something new for people to get into and check out, and that to me is. I mean, obviously, I do it because it's new to me.
Yeah.
I enjoy doing it. So, doing the solo tour, it's something I haven't done before in the States, so here I am, trying it new.
Cool.
See how it goes. If it goes well, I'll come back.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good for you, man. Well, you're in the country music capital of the world, man. Music City, USA. You have got a recently new adopted country-esque sound through Tumble Down. I mean, over the last 5 years. What does it mean to be in Nashville right now?
Nashville's a great city, man. I really enjoy it. I don't, fit well, in Nashville, but at the same time, there's so many different types of music in Nashville, and there's so much more than just, I think, top 40 country, which I'd love to be a part of it, but I just know I won't be. Look at me. So, I think I fit somewhere. It's just not, it's not a neat package. Yeah.
Let's talk about that aesthetic a little bit. You got Legionnaire Army going on. You've got Tattoos Are Good for the Soul, which I love, by the way. What? Let me ask you this: when did tattoos become soulful for you? I mean, at what point did it click where you're like, this is something I want?
Well, pretty early on, I started getting tattooed. On tour. Well, I got tattooed when I was in high school.
Yeah.
I was in the band, and I got a band tattoo, and it was something that I didn't really understand as much back then, of course, but little by little I started getting, the more I get tattooed, I think I'm making better choices for the most part on what I'm getting tattooed. But at one point I was like, I guess I'm a lifer because, and I didn't get my hands tattooed until 2005.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I had been doing music for a long time before I made that jump. And I strongly would suggest not getting anything like hands or neck or anything tattooed if you've only been doing something like this for a little while. Because I've seen a lot of young kids with hand tattoos. It's like, you're going to be looking for a job in about 2 years.
Yeah. Is that what kept putting it off for you? Is you're like, I don't know. I mean, is this going to be my...
I wanted to be sure.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't think you should get tattooed on your hands unless you've got full sleeves, full something else. Your legs should be done.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not done for it by any means, but, I've got more of my body's tattooed than not, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's get back to the country music aspect then.
Sure.
Tell me about what influences in country have really? I mean, what role in your development musically has country played? I mean, it's worth asking. Being in Nashville,
really, as a songwriter, I really, I started at the beginning. I feel like, I mean, maybe it wasn't the beginning, but I started with Hank Williams Sr. and I immersed myself in like what he was doing, and when I started writing country songs, they kind of sounded like that, very slow, simple love songs, a lot of sevenths, that kind of thing. And then I started getting into everything. I mean, Willie Nelson was like the first song I ever sang as a kid was "On the Road Again," Willie Nelson. To me, it transcended country for me. It was just, it's a song. It's a song about life, about celebrating friendship and seeing and experiencing, experiencing life, whether it's through travel, your friends, work, whatever. That's what it's about for me. So I mean, I didn't get that then. Maybe I still don't get it. I don't know. But so a lot of those country guys, it clicked. It clicked for me. It clicked. You listen to these songs, and it's not about writing a hit song. It's about writing a song that connects to people. And I guess because of that reason, it's a hit song.
Yeah.
But new country, I do like some new country. Don't get me wrong, I really do. But a lot of it doesn't connect on the same level, and it goes that way with all types of music for me. And I think a lot of it is just because the record labels and everybody's just trying to make a hit factory, having 5 people write one song. How can you really have a real human connection when you have 5 people working on one song? I love to co-write with people. I one-on-one, me and another person, and I feel like that's a great thing. You can work off each other. Once you get like, oh, let's send this idea to that guy and have him put his little thing on it, write a little lyric. That to me isn't real songwriting. It's a product.
Yeah, well, you want to collaborate and get to a point to where you're both trying to get the same message across, rather than just adding your own brand to it, so to speak. Do you feel like you're achieving that with Tumbledown?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I'm just writing. I've written everything for Tumbledown, but
yeah,
I feel like I'm still learning. I'm still like I still put my own spin on stuff I do with Tumbledown that has like a lot of punk influence. In that way, it's like, whoa, you're kind of like not very traditional with this country thing, But I think that's the beauty of it. You can do whatever you want. I can do whatever I want. They're originals, so.
Yeah.